I think we need a little bit more movement in our little fluffy bit here where we've got the ARP and these chords playing. And I'm thinking of just using the new arpeggiator and its fancy grid mode to try and come up with a bit of a riff. And let's see how that works. So I'm going to create a new instrument here. And I'm just going to put in, let's pick, we'll do this preset from the sampler. What do we got here? Factory, keyboards, synths. Do we do a piano? Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Let's go back to grand piano. Want something kind of spiky. Okay, do that for now. And shrink you down and grand piano. Okay, so first things first, we load in the arpeggiator in the MIDI effects slot. So first of all, actually, we're going to need something to play. Now, let's just take the chords and we'll just copy them down. And I will select them all with Command A and then Shift Option up. Now, there we go. We know the arpeggiator is working. So I've just pitched them up an octave. So right now it sounds like this. Right? Okay, so that's sounding a bit better. I'm going to rename this to piano, just so I don't forget. And we'll open up the arpeggiator again. Now, what we want to play with is the grid mode. So right now it's in a live mode. You can see that it's playing 4 notes. And that will update depending on what the actual input is that it's receiving. However, we want to play grid mode. And grid mode is like a little built-in sequencer. And grid mode has this fantastic feature where you can toggle whether or not it's going to play a chord or not. So this is like those other arpeggiators where it has a chord repeat that can either be on or off. But this one has a chord repeat that can be on or off per step. Okay, so that means that we can go like this, and we're playing chords, right? Then we can enable step 2. And now it's playing a chord and then a note. Right? So it's playing a chord and then it does the rest of the arpeggiated stuff throughout. If I enable all 8. Oop, not 9. Okay, so you see how you can generate a bunch of movement just by doing that. And I've got all the velocities the same currently. Now, what I've done here is I can select this one and I can drag it to the right. And so it's tied it, right? So now it'll just play the 4 and then hold it until beat 5 until it restarts beat 6 again. And then this variation takes effect when it's just playing the single notes. So depending on the variation you've got selected, it'll change the single notes. The chords will stay the same, but the single notes will change. So you can flick through those and listen to the changes. And then with the octave range, you can make more changes as well, with it flicking up and down between 2 octaves now. 3, or even 4, which is probably a little bit of overkill. You can also toggle that to be inversions now. Okay, so if I put it back to 16ths, if you grab the top here, that adjusts the volume of the note. Okay, so you've got tons and tons of stuff to play with on this. And this is actually sounding all right. If we put it... kind of clashes with the intro up a bit. Let's see if we can make some changes so we can have them both going at once. Okay, so I've taken out, if we go to the EQ for a good old intro ARP here, we can see that there's a good chunk of it happening between 1 and 2K. And so I went on piano and voila, I heard that the intro ARP started poking out more when I started taking out some of the 2K. So I've made room for the intro ARP in the piano. It dulls the piano a little bit, but it gets filled up. The frequency spectrum, it gets filled up by the intro ARP when we do that. Now we could also do another delay design on the piano. That might sound a little nicer or a little too hectic. So what I'm doing here is I'm adjusting the high pass filter so it doesn't delay the low frequencies, and it only lets the kind of mid to high ones through. right, we'll leave that on for now. And of course, we'll bit crush it a bit because we want it a little dirty, and maybe even lower the resolution a bit. And we can also spread it out a little bit. And let's use the new, well, not new, but new to this project, stereo spread. This is kind of cool because it lets you adjust the spread based on the frequency range. So this is the lower one here, and I can have it spread a little bit. And as we go into the more upper frequencies, I'll have it spread a lot. And you basically have to play with the order just by ear to see what sounds best. Add a bit of unison's a little too much on that one. All right, what I'd like to do is, I like that, but I don't just like the piano. So let's do something else to augment that. And I will create a new, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to delete this. So I'll just press delete on it, and I will go duplicate. Is that in the menu here? Nope. So just Command D. Now I've duplicated my grand piano because I wanted the same arpeggiator in there. What I don't want is the grand piano. So I will play this project. Copy the MIDI down. Now you may be asking, why don't I just create a track stack and have the one MIDI playing both parts? Because you cannot have MIDI effect in a track stack. It has to be in a channel. So if I was to select these and say create track stack, and sure enough, I got a track stack here, but there is no place to put MIDI effects. MIDI effects have to be in your channel. So we'll still group these just because I'll want to smush them together. And we will call this, we'll yell at that, movement ARP, because it adds a little bit of movement. So we'll change this grand piano to something else, probably something a little more synthy. Synth lead maybe. Start at the top. Wow, that is not good. All right, that's sounding a bit better. But what we could do is we could try. Now, you see when I hover my mouse over here, I get this lime green highlight, same as at the top. That means that I'm able to click and insert a new effect underneath or above, depending on where it is. So I'm going to insert the transposer. And I'm basically just going to pitch this new one up an octave. No, I'm not, because then that drowns out intro ARP. However, we will play with a new one. Do we want to modify things? No, we want to modulate things. So we're going to open up the modulator. Now, this thing's kind of cool. This is a MIDI LFO and envelope generator in essence. And what it allows you to do is generate MIDI information for any of the MIDI CCs. So you can't map it to everything, but you can map it to anything that uses a MIDI CC. And what I've been using it for is for basically either mod wheel or making some wacky pitch bend. And the basic chord here, if I solo that. Whoa. All right, so you see what it's doing there. I've got it set to 2 bars, and it's generating a square wave of pitch bend information. So this lovely little graph down here shows you exactly what it's doing. So this is basically, imagine this being your pitch bend wheel and having it automate, and that's exactly what's happening. Then you've got a bunch of different parameters. You know, if I was to put this like this and a triangle wave, you can adjust. This thing is kind of neat. You can lower the resolution, so you get a stepped resolution. And then, of course, you get your different waveforms and whether it's synced, free running, or multiple trigger. And then the envelope is basically what you'd think it would be. It's triggered by either the LFO, single note, or multiple. And it would raise up. Here, if we go to aftertouch, say. Oh yeah, we've got too many notes going on. All right, so you see what it's doing now, generating basically the shape you've got up there. But it's not helping us right now. It's just making things sound even sicker. So let's adjust the output velocity here, and we can get just a little smidge of pitch bend. You can almost fake a vibrato with this, I guess, if you wanted to. We could put it at 16ths. It's a little cleaner without those notes. I'm going to take those out for now. And for this MIDI here, I might move these. I might move one of the other ones, just so it's a little bit different than the piano.